Okay, so um, I've given up Facebook and Twitter um, because of the election cycle and all the craziness that's kind of coming at us from left and right. But like, so that's taken away my outlet for like having somebody to talk to, like just to like shout into the void about like stuff that's really getting to me. And this week, there's so much stuff getting to me, but like of all the things going on in the world, like I just like want to like have a kiki about the drag race, the Vegas Revue show. Okay, look, so I have been like, RuPaul's Drag Race has been the brightest spot of being in 2020. Like they're like this election, the environmental disasters, I don't even want to say her name, but you know why you're in the house, and everything has been nuts. And RuPaul's Drag Race has just been this space where it's just like there's people painting their faces, being creative. There's a fly. Being creative, dancing, slamming their backs on the ground, slamming their cooters on the ground, putting on wigs. Like, I just need to see people enjoying their life, living their life at the fullest, like at 1,000%, because I am so fucking depressed. And but I really like, so I went to see the Drive and Drag when it was here recently, and there's a nasty fly. I just wanted to go away. And it's like sitting there in my light doing a whole like whatever the fuck it's doing. Anyways, so now I can't see. Um but anyways, like I really got attached to the Drag Race girls this year, sort of like watching old episodes, going through, season 12, I guess this was. Even Canada's Drag Race, like I really got into Priyanka and um, Scarlett Bobo, and just like that whole vibe of the Canada's Drag Race crew was so um, comforting. Just silly and fun and light, but at the same time, like, real world things, watching people go through real world dynamics, things that like, they're working together, and it's kind of a reality show about people working together. The drag race in Vegas show is definitely a show about, it's a reality show about workplace drama. And um this thing with Asia is, it hits so close to home. Like, I think there is something that people really forget, especially in queer communities. Like, we aren't, and it shows up a lot in the RuPaul's Drag Race world, the fandom, even. Um, but it's like pretty much across the board when it comes to like double minorities, triple minorities working together, and the sort of infighting that happens, and the drama that happens because there are minor privileges within the community that distract people from giving support when that's all that's being requested. And I feel like Asia has shown time and time again that she really, I mean, from that moment with the Vixen and RuPaul at the reunion season her on her season, whatever season that was. I can't remember season 10. Um, but on her season, she was showing that like she really sees her role in the community as a supportive and nurturing and honest, um, forthright person who shows a lot of maturity and takes on a lot of responsibility. And I think when you're that person in any friend circle, often like a parent, you get resentments. You get people who think like, I didn't ask you to do all that. They don't lend a hand when taking on all that responsibility and being this solid person and being a person who feels responsible at all times. um when you kind of like empty out of like, you need a little reassurance. And right now, in the series, that's what Asia's going through. She's basically, oh, this fly. Um, and I've been there. Like, I've lived thousands of miles away from home. Um, put myself in groups where I thought I would be safe because we were all either queer or young or people of color. Um, and I know that feeling. I know exactly what she's saying when she feels like, she thought she had a sister in Naomi, and she thought that Naomi, if she had a problem, she would come to her first. And how it looks having Derek bring it up instead of Naomi at that party in front of everybody. It's like, I just don't understand how they don't think like Naomi has parents. I guess she's adopted, but she's got parents. She's got tons of brothers and sisters. She seems to have grown up in a very secure fashion. Derek is in a throuple. He may not have his family, but he's at home in Las Vegas with two boyfriends. He's at home basically. Um, you know, Evie's got her parents' support. Um, it just seems like all of them have a support network, and they're forgetting Asia doesn't necessarily have that. And that even though she has a partner, she's now thousands of miles away from her partner. So she's basically paying the price for treating her friends like family, at the same time being told that's what she's supposed to do. So it's like, as long as she's being strong for everybody, they don't seem to notice that she might need the reassurance when she's not feeling reciprocated, or like she's getting love back, or that even that like something is making her feel a little less than. She's stressed out. Like she says, she has 8 scenes where most people have 3 and 4. She's the MC of the show. She keeps the energy of the show up. She's the person. She's sort of like the figurehead of the show. So she has more responsibilities, and I just don't understand why they don't even want to try to. None of them want to try to figure out from her perspective what that feels like. And the craziest thing about it is, like, queer people always do this to each other. I see, you know, black women often doing this to each other in workspaces. I see it in this whole Candace Owens versus Cardi B thing. It's just there is this codependency where people are blatantly saying how upset they are and asking for a little space, a little comfort, saying like my limit is being pushed here, and instead of us like at least being able to comfort each other and knowing like yeah this person's hit their breaking point, we all like or not all of us because clearly I'm not agreeing with that. There's this like you know lift put stiffing your what is it like stiffing your up like get really I'm losing my words but you know what I mean, like people tell you to like put on a brave face to fake it more for them after you already have like it's it's rather insane to me. It really got to me like the editing of it got like six of them saying like she's being immature and she's being um she needs to grow up and that like now look at what's happening and it's all her and it's just like but if Naomi had come to her in the first place as a friend and said, Asia, child, I know you need to vent, but this is what I need. Like, I need to get in my fantasy and I need to like, I need to feel like the only girl in the world for a little while. And you come backstage and you're ranting and raving about stuff and like sometimes like we maybe we need to like me and you need to go out and have kikis and drinks or whatever. Like it's just like they don't even seem to have tried. And it I'm sure it's editing, but it's like they never caught on camera one time any of them saying something supportive or like she is the MC of the show or you know um I don't know. I mean, you definitely don't bring up that somebody is missing both of their parents in their lives. The show doesn't seem to have a problem bringing it up in the storyline, but it's just interesting to me that people can like be your friends, know that you have trauma around certain things, see you reacting in that trauma, and instead of them figuring out a way to coalesce around you and build a support network around you when they see you falling apart, they use it against you. And I'm seeing it on this show. I'm seeing it in, like the Black Lives Matter movement versus the Blexit movement versus the Bernie Bros versus the Biden folks versus it's like there are so many millions of people whose interest in having power over the broken, the disenfranchised, the marginalized, they have their stuff together. They're looking at this playing chess. And there's so many of us with real problems facing these major systems and being told to give and give and give. And yet we still have people within our groups not being able to say like that person's reached their breaking point. Like, and I recognize that feeling because all of us who are on this side of the power dynamic where we're not the producer, we're not the president, we're not the CEOs, when we're the talent, the workers, the artists, the creators, the people on this side of it, we all hit our breaking point and we all need a little bit of room to fumble through what we're saying, to mispronounce words, to not get things right, to get emotional, to be tired. Like, we need to see when each of us are like hitting these breaking points, these walls of exhaustion. Like, I just really don't understand it. I know I'm reading a lot into like a reality show, but like that's what they're for, right? Like, they're like a Rorschach test, or like a psychological test um of how each of us perceive this life we're all sort of dealing with. But yeah, I found it really symbolic, how the dynamics of Asia versus the cast, and how they're all dealing with this. So, um, like, I don't think she's in the right, but because I do think like it really is important to like face your own demons and have done your own work. Um, but I know I'm not the only one who's felt like, as a person who's like queer, who's black, who is, dealing with mental health issues, has dealt with trauma, that sometimes, especially within our communities, amongst other queer people, amongst other black people, amongst other black queer people, um, there's no room for exhaustion and for exasperation and for needing a little helping hand. Um, and it often tends to hurt the people who are at the forefront, people who are leading, people who are volunteering, people who take on more responsibilities, who put themselves out front. It usually tears at them first. You know, I'm just saying, if you've got a friend and you know that person is always stepping up for you, or if you know that that friend doesn't have both of their parents, or if you know that that friend is struggling in their love life or struggling in their career, but they are good people to you, and they stand up for you and they cheerlead for you, if they're positive energy for you, but they're hard on themselves, don't kick them when they're down. Like, I don't know, but I just had to rant about that because, man, everybody, all of them, except for Cameron. I have to give it to Cameron. But Cameron was like quick to shift it to her own stuff. She was just like, child, I just got broke up with and blah, blah, blah. And like, that's a whole nother category of discussion when it comes to like queer people and dating. And it's just like, I think that only happens with people who live in certain cities, this whole idea of distance. And it's just like, you don't want to be with Cameron Michaels looking like that because of a distance, and you can afford to get to this person. Like, it's like you try to say to yourself, as like an overweight person who's dealing with mental health issues and broke, and you're like, I'm single, and you're just like, I'm never going to find anybody. And then you look at people like fucking Andy Cohen and Cameron Michaels and like, I don't know who else, fucking Jeffree Star, like, I don't know, like every rich queer person, they cannot find they can't find a man. Um, like, that's crazy to me. I love looking at like black gay weddings on Instagram and like couples that like have their like engagement announcements and stuff on social media. Um, but I swear I be looking at that shit like it's magic. Like, what on earth? Because it's like, it just seems like, I mean, RuPaul's been with her partner for like 30 years. And I mean, it just seems so rare. It seems really rare for queer couples, especially two men. I mean, that's all I know because I mean, I have my lesbian moments, but um, he's a he. And I just feel like men have a really hard time sticking together. Like, I've lost a lot of friends over the years, not just to like poor life choices and death, but like I've lost a lot of male friends over the years, due to just like inconsistency, just like people who um, basically have an identity crisis and just like really just deciding to like either go off the deep end with drugs and alcohol or like um I've had a couple of religious what's the word, conversions, like people who've just like seen the light and got saved and all that stuff, and there's like I don't know what that has to do with um being friends um with people, but I mean I get it in some way, but it's like when you was it's always the people who was like the biggest heathens who turn around and get saved and then act sanctified like holier than thou. That's the type of that's what I've seen, um, which is very uh, that's just insane to me. It's insane. Um, but yeah, it's I think it's really important for queer people of color, especially, to have a wider berth for acceptance of people on different journeys to like their gender identity, to their trans identity. People who are against people who don't just have it all figured out all the time. Like I don't. That's why. That's it's like that her whole episode tonight on Drag Race Review just sort of like is indicative of so many problems to me within the queer community. It's just we're so there's so much acceptance and there's so much privilege now that I think that people forget that we're still disenfranchised minorities dealing with things, coping with things, um, within this new like era of privilege. So it's not like a lot of modeling happening for like how to really deal with our emotions or how to deal with all of the loss and all of the tragedy and things that we kind of like bring in. And so if you do have the ability to step up for someone else because you do have a little bit more security in your life because you did have supportive parents or you have a partner, a loving partner, because you're home and this person is new in town, like reach out and like definitely keep your boundaries, but if you can't help, don't do any harm. And I think as a community we need to work on like staying abreast of resources and seeing like how you can step up in a person's life, like even like passively just by listening or just like Vanjie is an excellent listener because Libra gang, like she knows how to like mediate a situation and see like real for real. But like I think if there wasn't a problem with Vanjie going in and mediating with Asia, maybe that could have been a solution. But it just didn't seem like anybody was looking for any solutions, and they were just ready to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And that's all I'm saying. I feel like a lot of people do that, especially within intersectioned minority communities. We do that a lot. We, Candace Owens is saying that about um, Cardi B, like, calling, her illiterate and, basically just playing to her more conservative values and saying that Cardi B doesn't really have a leg to stand on politically, which is like not the case because we're all Americans and we all have a voice. Whereas on the other hand, Cardi B is like, I don't even see you, like, and I don't really recognize your place, and I don't think that's a good thing either to tear her down for having different views. But at the same time, like, I can't see why both women can't just say like we can draw a line here. We're both, and I know I'm jumping around a lot, but like that's how I saw the episode. Like I just saw it as like I see this thing going on between like a lot of double minorities where we are pitted against each other or we find ourselves against each other and no one says, you know what, okay, this is what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is tear each other down. What we're going to do is recognize that we have different perspectives, we come from different points of view, and what we need to do is embrace each other. And I can see that, like, I'm not trying to hurt you. I might be trying to engage you. I might be defending myself. I might be being defensive. You know, I can shoulder a little bit of this responsibility in this moment where I see obviously that we don't see eye to eye right now, and there is nothing but there's hurt coming. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I know I took that really deep. This is like absolutely my first and probably my only reaction. But this week has been a lot. And it just kind of set something off. And so, anyways, bye.